I started Gestalt from a psychological perspective also, and one of the things I realized is that it was so rich at the individual level. And one of the things we have to remember is that organizations are made up of individuals. And what you can do is take that individual concept and you can flip it and say, okay, so how does this work on the organizational level? And we don't have the same kind of cycle because sensations don't happen in organizations. What they do is scan. And so you can use the same methodologies to say, what is going on inside an organization and how does this organization need to shift to scan what's going on, to bring awareness around the data that it's collecting. How is this organization making contact with its environment, with itself, and how does it then create closure around some of the principles or some of the strategies that they want to use and develop. And so you can really take the principles at that clinical level, flip it to an organizational frame, and it can really assist you in your analysis.
You cannot look at organizations anymore as structures, but you have to look at them as human systems. Mm-hmm. So is this one of the answers to why Gestalt is becoming more and more important?
Well, I haven't thought about that, but it's an interesting concept. I mean, it's one of the reasons that coming to conferences like this is so important, is because what you do is you start thinking about the work you do differently because you hear other aspects and other takes on the work. And there are some things that go on in organizations that I think it doesn't make it a human organization, but you also have to realize that humans make up organizations. And so in that way, I think it's one of the reasons Gestalt is becoming such an interest of folks when they're working inside of organizations.
The OD World Summit is a platform for international meeting people internationally from more than 30 countries, also from different international organizations. So what does that mean for you?
Well, this has been a wonderful conference for me, and one of the things that happens is that, it's like you go into workshops and you start really thinking of, breaking down the theories and looking at the concepts that they're presenting and things like that, and you begin to look at the work you do differently, and you get engaged in conversations and you realize that there are parallel things going on around the world, and that's exciting because then you can share your work, you can continue dialoguing after this, and it gives you a rich ground to really begin to do different kinds of dialogue about what's going on not only in your system but in other systems and how they interrelate and intersect. So, and one of the things, we have Gestalt programs around the world. We have an international program. We have a program that's based in the United States. The colleague that I work with is based in Ghana, who I'm doing the workshop with. And so how do we bring that international flavor, and how do you then look at the way Gestalt is happening in Ghana and look at the way it's happening in the United States and bring a workshop together to blend it, to say, this is what we have to offer from our international perspective. And it's really a wonderful collaboration.
It's also there is a lot of talk about non-conventional organizations, and I've seen in your biography that you've been working in profit and non-profit as well. What is the experience that you bring in from that point of view?
One of the things I think about, I think organizations are shifting right now. I think organizations people in organizations are scanning and looking for the heart of the matter. And in that, I think they will then shift their ways of being. And I think a lot of our organizations will become a lot like the nonprofit or they won't look like they look today. I think we're already starting to see that, and people are working at home and doing other kinds of things. And so all these buildings that are standing for organizations will be standing for something else and things like that. So I think we're in this shift in the organizational world of making different meaning of how we do our work. And a lot of that is, how do we bring heart and spirit into the work, and how do people feel fulfilled in their work and in their personal lives? And so I think we're doing rethinking, re-emergence of new ways of being inside of organizations.
But it must be very difficult for the OD practitioners, because you were supposed to be, let's say, a step ahead, to be able to consult and bring in new ideas to the organizations. But when you don't know what the future is, or where, exactly in which direction organizations will go, it's very difficult. So what are the stable basements and or basics that you can hold on to when you're thinking about it?
Well, I think what we do is we hold on to our ideas and principles. And just like organizations, we have to learn to work with ambiguity. What we're feeling and what we're doing is what organizations are also going through. And as we learn to hold on to our values, our principles, knowing that those are really the baseline of what organizations are all about. And as we do that, and we, as things emerge, because we're in an emergence society right now, and things are emerging, and in that is a lot of ambiguity, and we have to be able to stay in that ambiguity and watch and help things shift and get settled, and then shift again and get settled. And so we too have to learn to live in that kind of flux. And it's just as hard for us sometimes as it is for organizations. And so that's one of the reasons this conference is also a good conference, is because we can come together and dialogue about the flux that we're in. And really, one of the workshops I was in yesterday, we all just helped them with their design about, so what's the next step? And we were all in different corners going, and we were all excited about, oh, we should do this and you should do that. And hopefully they walked away with millions of ideas, but it's bringing their flux to us to say, we're in this new way of being in this organization. This organization has come to this whole different way of being, and we're looking for what are the things that we're missing, and what are some of the next steps that you see, and that then helps them move their design along.
Talking about this conference, I'm asking everybody, what was the high point of the conference so far for you?
The high point of the conference for me. That's an interesting question, because I think I've been on a perpetual high, so it's hard to break it down, in any kind of ways. And so one, I think one of the things that was really done well is the hosting of this conference, because we are coming from different walks of life. And I feel like we walked into this conference and we were just held, and we were told to be, and to think critically, and to engage, and to think outside the box. And in that, we were held in a way that allowed us to do it in a safe environment, and with joy and with love. And I think that is one of the things that we can then take back to say, wow, I went to this conference and I really learned how to host with love and respect, and with emergence of different ideas, and how do I then take that into the organization itself.